Hi, I'm Ella Gordon. This morning I woke up bursting with excitement, imagining cake, presents, and maybe even a party. I rushed to the kitchen, hoping to see balloons or a banner, anything to mark that today was special. But when I got there, the kitchen was eerily quiet. No smell of pancakes or bacon like I'd hoped. Dad was at the table, his eyes fixed on his laptop, while Marianne, his new wife, was busy tapping away on her phone. "Happy birthday, Ella," Dad muttered without looking up. "Thanks, Dad. Are we doing anything special today?" I asked, trying to hide the hope in my voice. Marianne finally looked up from her phone, her expression blank. "Richard, did you tell her?" Dad sighed, closing his laptop with a snap. "Ella, we need to talk. It's about your room." My heart sank. My room? Yes, Marianne needs a proper office now that she's working from home full-time. We've decided to turn your room into that space. "But where will I sleep?" I asked, my voice trembling. "You'll be staying with your Aunt Sarah in Newton," Dad explained, as if it was a minor change, not sending me away. A lump formed in my throat. "For how long?" "This will be permanent, Ella. It's for the best. You'll like it at Sarah's," Dad said, his voice flat. "But it's my birthday," I whispered, my voice cracking. Marianne stood up, smoothing her skirt. "You'll understand when you're older. This is important for us, for the family business." I wanted to argue, cry, scream that it was unfair, but I knew it wouldn't change anything. So I went to my room, or what used to be my room, and started packing. A couple of hours later, Aunt Sarah arrived. She gave me the warmest hug as soon as she saw me. "Happy birthday, Ella. I'm so sorry about all this, but we'll make sure you have the best time with us." The car ride to Aunt Sarah's was quiet. I spent most of it staring out the window, trying not to cry. When we got there, my cousins Alex and Jamie were waiting at the door, grinning and holding a homemade banner that read, "Happy birthday, Ella." The rest of the day was a blur of cake, laughter, and games. Aunt Sarah made my favorite chocolate cake, and Alex and Jamie even got me a few gifts, including a telescope. "For your love of stars," Alex said, winking at me. As the day ended, I lay in my new room, staring at the ceiling. Aunt Sarah had made sure it was filled with everything I liked. The walls were painted my favorite shade of light blue, and there were new drawing supplies and books about stars on the desk. "Thanks for making today special," I whispered as Aunt Sarah came to say goodnight. "Of course, sweetie. This is your home now, too." "We'll make sure you have everything you need," she replied, kissing my forehead. As I drifted off to sleep, I realized that maybe, just maybe, things could be okay here. Maybe despite how the day started, it could still be a happy birthday. Life at Aunt Sarah's was a lot different than back at Dad's. Here, every morning started with a big breakfast and a hug, not just a hurried slice of toast. Aunt Sarah was always up early, making sure Alex, Jamie, and I had everything we needed for school. She was a teacher at our school, so we all walked together most mornings, chatting about everything from homework to the latest school gossip. At school, I found myself actually enjoying the lessons, especially art and science, my two favorite subjects. Aunt Sarah was an amazing teacher, not just at home but in the classroom too. She had this way of explaining things that just made everything click. One day, while working on a group project about constellations, I shared my telescope view from the weekend. My classmates were so impressed, and my teacher even suggested I enter my project in the upcoming science fair. Meanwhile, I heard bits and pieces about Dad and Marianne from Alex and Jamie. Things weren't going so great. Marianne's business was struggling, something about losing a major client, and it was causing a lot of tension. Dad said they might have to sell the house if things don't get better. Alex whispered to us one afternoon as we worked on our homework in the living room. "Yeah, and Marianne was yelling again last night." "I heard her through the phone," Jamie added, looking worried. I felt bad for them, sort of, but it was hard to really feel anything after how they treated me on my birthday. Aunt Sarah noticed us whispering and gave us a smile. "Why don't you three take a break? Let's go get some ice cream." As we walked to the ice cream shop, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. This was what family was supposed to feel like. We joked and laughed, and for a while, I forgot about Dad and Marianne. The science fair was a turning point for me. My project on constellations won first place, and I was even featured in the local newspaper. Aunt Sarah framed the article and hung it on the refrigerator, right in the center, like a medal of honor. "Look at that, Ella. You're a star," she joked, winking at me. "Yeah, And not just in astronomy, Alex chimed in, and we all burst into laughter. I started a small art project, painting scenes from the constellations I loved. Each star felt like a point of light in my new life, a tiny victory. That evening, as we sat down to dinner, Aunt Sarah raised her glass of water and a toast. To new beginnings and bright futures. To new beginnings, Alex and Jamie echoed. I smiled, warmth spreading through me. And to stars, both the ones in the sky and the ones here with me. We clinked glasses, and I realized that no matter what happened, I was home. I was resilient, and this was just the beginning. I couldn't wait to see what else I could achieve, not in spite of my past, but because of my new beginning here with a family that truly cared. As months rolled by, I felt more connected to my new life in Newton with each passing day. My artwork started gaining attention, and I was invited to display my pieces at a regional exhibition. It was a big deal for someone my age, and Aunt Sarah helped me prepare every step of the way. The night before the exhibition, Jamie rushed into the kitchen, foam in hand, excitement in his eyes. Ella, you have to hear this. He played a voicemail accidentally sent to Aunt Sarah's phone by Dad, intended for someone else. Dad's voice was shaky, filled with stress. Tom Briggs has gone to the authorities. He knows about the Henderson deal. I don't know what I'm going to do if this gets out. I felt a mix of shock and curiosity. Tom Briggs, he was a name I remembered from Dad's old dinner parties, always spoken with a hint of respect and fear. Dad's in trouble, I whispered, more to myself than to Jamie. Yeah, and it sounds bad, Jamie replied, his tone serious. At the exhibition, as I set up my paintings, Aunt Sarah noticed my distracted look. What's on your mind, Ella? I hesitated but decided to tell her about the voicemail. As I explained, her expression shifted from concern to determination. We can't control what happens there, Ella. But we're here now, and this, your art, is what matters today. She encouraged, her voice firm yet gentle. I nodded, taking a deep breath. The exhibition was crowded with people of all ages admiring the artwork. When they came to mine, I heard them praising the depth and emotion in my paintings. It felt surreal hearing strangers discuss my art so passionately. Meanwhile, back at Dad's, things were falling apart. Marianne's demands had drained their finances, and now with the fraudulent deal exposed, they faced not just monetary loss but a loss of reputation. Dad was suspended from work pending an investigation, and the stress was too much for Marianne. Her relationships with her clients deteriorated as her professional network learned of the scandal. A week later, while painting in my new studio, a small setup Aunt Sarah had helped me put together in the basement, I received a text from Dad. It was the first time he'd reached out since I moved. Ella, I need to talk to you. It's important. Please. I stared at the message, conflicted. Part of me was furious, wanting nothing to do with him or his problems. Another part was curious about what he wanted, about how badly things had gone wrong. I decided not to respond right away, focusing instead on my painting. It was a piece inspired by the chaos of the stars, a swirling mass of colors and shapes that somehow found harmony on the canvas. It was like my life, chaotic and scattered at times, but finding new alignments and patterns that made sense in ways the old ones never did. As I added the final touches to my painting, I realized that, like my art, I was no longer defined by the fragments of my past, but by the new wholeness I was creating. No matter what Dad's message might mean, I knew I had the strength to face it, just like I had faced everything else so far. It was a sunny afternoon when I finally decided to call Dad back. Aunt Sarah stood by my side, offering silent support as I dialed the number. When Dad answered, his voice was tired and hollow. Ella, thank you for calling back. I've made a mess of everything. I'm so sorry. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his words, but also the strength of my new life bolstering me. What do you need, Dad? It's all falling apart, Ella. I might lose my license to practice law, and Marianne, she's left. I don't have anyone. I was hoping you'd come back. Maybe we could start over. I paused, the offer hanging in the air. The old Ella might have jumped at the chance to return to what was familiar, but I wasn't that Ella anymore. Dad, I have started over, but here, with Aunt Sarah and my cousins. I have school, art, a whole life that doesn't include feeling like I'm just in the way. I'm sorry you're in trouble, but I can't fix that for you. There was a long silence on the line, and then a soft, resigned sigh. I understand. I guess I hoped. Well, it doesn't matter. Take care of yourself, Ella. You too, Dad, I said, and then hung up. The days that followed were busy as I prepared for another art exhibition. This one was special. It was hosted at my school, showcasing young local artists, and I was one of the featured participants. As I arranged my paintings, each one a vibrant testament to my journey and growth, I felt a sense of accomplishment I'd never experienced before. The school gym was transformed into a gallery, with artwork hanging on every available space and small crowds of students, teachers, and community members milling around. Aunt Sarah was bustling about, ensuring everything went smoothly, while Alex and Jamie handed out programs at the door. I stood beside my paintings, ready to explain my work to anyone curious enough to ask. This one is called Stellar Resilience, I explained to a group of younger students, pointing at a large canvas covered in swirling blues and silvers. It represents finding order in chaos, something beautiful emerging from turmoil. As the evening progressed, the gym filled with laughter and chatter. The local news even stopped by, interviewing some of us about our inspirations and future aspirations. Toward the end of the event, I stepped back to take it all in. The gym was alive with color and sound, every piece of art telling its own story. I caught Aunt Sarah's eye across the room, and she smiled at me, her pride evident. As the crowd began to thin, Alex and Jamie joined me, each slinging an arm over my shoulder. "You agree, Ella," Jamie said, giving me a quick squeeze. "Yeah, you're like a celebrity now," Alex added, laughing. I laughed with them, feeling light and hopeful. "Thanks, guys. I couldn't have done any of this without you." The final scene was simple but powerful. My family and friends gathered around me, everyone chatting and laughing under the soft glow of the gym lights. I looked around at the faces of those who had supported me, who had helped me find my path, and I knew this was exactly where I was meant to be. With a genuine smile, I realized this wasn't just a new chapter in my life.